Canada will soon allow medically assisted dying for mental illness. Has there been enough time to get it right? Get what right? How's that ever gotten right? So what they're talking about here is a program in Canada where you can opt for medically assisted suicide based on your mental illness, based on, I believe, poverty is a qualifier. And we now have the state in Canada executing people if they ask for it. This is why people don't understand why I vote red. It's like, if you understand sort of the way the world works, you can look at places like Canada and the UK and Sweden, and you can see what is coming down the pipeline because they are further left, which means they have achieved just objectively more of their goals in a shorter amount of time than the US has. So this is why people worry about giving leftist politicians and the left in general an inch because they take a fucking mile. I'm someone who can absolutely get behind, and people get mad at this, medically assisted suicide in very rare instances where someone is objectively terminally ill with no hope of curing whatever they have and is in agonizing pain. If you have 6 months left and you are for sure gonna croak out and you are in excruciating pain, or you have, it's just so much like that. That's one thing. I can get behind that. It's very sad and it's a very unfortunate part of like life and the human experience that happens to some people, but I can get behind that maybe if you convince me. This, you're just mentally ill, and so you're like, I don't want to be here anymore. Big Daddy government Canada, can you just off me? Like, what the fuck is happening? This is why it's like safe, legal, and rare, right? A lot of people are now looking at the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and they may be people who supported like, very early abortion and been like, you know what? I can get behind you're a month, you're 2 months into pregnancy, and this is the right decision for you. I can get behind that. There's a lot of people like that. But then those same people get pissed off when they see all of a sudden that means 2 years after that there are babies in the 9th month being fucking aborted. And yes, it is happening. When they're voting for trans rights, and then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, Antifa in a women's prison. It's like, what? You give the left an inch and they take a mile. And that's like the biggest problem is there's no curtailing of the end goal for them. They don't stop. So it's like, because they don't stop, they end up with these excesses, and it's almost always really ugly. And this is something that's very ugly. Like, do you know how many people, if this was available in the US, that I personally know that might not be here, if they had the option of calling up whoever these people have to call up and be like, I want to leave the planet. Like, I have very close friends who suffer with mental illness. If that had been an option for them here, who knows if I would even have them with me today. And these people have overcome their issues. What happened to treating people? Oh yeah, that costs money. It's very sad. We have a video here. In this video, I think will explain sort of what's happening.
Imagine choosing death over homelessness. That's what one St. Catharines man is contemplating. Tonight on City News, we continue to delve into medically assisted dying and how some believe it is their only option to living in poverty.
Are you afraid to die?
Who isn't? Yeah,
Amir Farsood has applied for medically assisted dying, known as MAID. He lives in constant agony due to a back injury, but has started the process for end of life because his rooming house is up for sale and he can't find anywhere else to live that he can afford. He barely survives on Ontario disability support payments, which are just over $1,200 a month.
So this man is on a list to be executed by the state because he is poor. That is about the darkest shit I have ever even said out loud on this channel, my other channel, internet, out loud at all. Like, wow. That's insane. And I don't think I even need to say that I have like a moral objection to the creation of MAID. It's kind of like saying I don't think puppies should be kicked. It's like I don't think the government should kill mentally ill and poor people. Like, maybe things like this can wake people up to understand that we don't live in a Disney movie where left equals good guys and right equals bad guys, because you can see the end point of leftist policy. It's communism. It's MAID. It's like, what are we talking about? I struggle even knowing what to say about this because it's just that fucking crazy. Shout out to Canada, doing everything wrong all of the time. How the hell is Canada going to ban handguns but give the state the power to kill people? Like, I know that every other country, like, this is one of the things that I get all the time. Because y'all know I'm pro-gun. I'm not ashamed of it. Pro-Second Amendment. Own a lot of guns. And it's so funny how people in other countries will send me messages like, oh my God, I love you, but I will never understand Americans' obsession with guns. Oh my God. Because you know what happens in countries where you don't have guns? Only the government has guns. And the government can then take the power to kill mentally ill and poor people. At least here, it's not just the state with the ability to defend themselves and with guns. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't understand. Shout out to Canada. All right. Court runs up the bill on Alex Jones with $473 million judgment. I think it's safe to say it's not about the kids anymore. Like, does anyone, like, even if you just hate Alex Jones, which there's a lot of valid reasons to hate him. But even if you do, it's like, can we just agree this isn't about the kids anymore? It's like every week they're adding on like hundreds of millions more. It's like, he can't pay that. It's not bringing the kids back. It's not. I don't have much to say about this other than they're making an example out of him, and they will continue to because they can, because they already did it with social media. Can we talk about how like the Young Turks is a prized YouTube partner in great standing with YouTube, despite denying a genocide where Alex Jones was banned for questioning an event? I don't know. It's just these things that I notice, and like, fuck me for saying it out loud, but it's just these things I notice. One of these things is not like the other because one of them is a little worse, I think, actually. I mean, it's just... Anyways. Former trans teen speaks out on lawsuit over gender-affirming surgery. So this is Chloe Cole, and she's speaking to Tucker because she's actually suing the people who operated on her. And I think this is an amazing thing. I think that 2023 is going to be the year of detransitioner lawsuits. I think that the only way this tide is truly going to turn is when it starts hurting people just a little bit in the pocketbooks, because that's what this is all about. And, you know, Chloe Cole's leading the charge. So let's watch some of this video, and we'll get into it.
Hospitals that abuse children, that mutilate their genitals in the name of trans ideology, are finally, blessedly being shut down. Vanderbilt, for example, closed its youth gender clinic after the Daily Wire exposed them. In Tavistock, in Great Britain, the government closed a gender reassignment clinic after they got sued by thousands of parents. So litigation stops mutilation, and these kinds of closures are about to become more common. Our friend Harmeet Dillon is now representing a young woman called Chloe Cole, a biological woman who was told she could become a man surgically. Now, Harmeet and Cole are suing the doctors who did this to her. Harmeet Dillon is the chairwoman of the Republican National Lawyers Association, and she's joined by Chloe Cole. Thank you both so much for coming on. Chloe, first to you, tell us why you're suing.
It's a medical malpractice case. I want to hold the adults who put me in harm's way accountable because, I mean, what happened to me is horrible, but it's also, it didn't only happen to me. That's the worst part. It's happening to children all over the U.S., all over the West, and it's spreading all over the world. And
yes.
I want to be able to create a precedent for other people who have been in my situation to find justice themselves.
How old were you when you were told by a doctor that you could become a different sex?
I was 12.
You were 12 years old. And did you, I mean, I assume at 12 you believe what a doctor tells you.
And my parents trusted them as well. My parents, they started referring, I was 12 years old when I first expressed to them that I had distress with my gender, with being female, and that I wanted to transition to male. And they were concerned, and they wanted what was best for me, but they weren't really sure what to do with me, so they sought professional help. And from then on, I was basically affirmed in my gender identity without any questioning from any medical professionals, and they pushed transitioning as the way to treat gender dysphoria.
It's so upsetting, it's hard even to ask you questions, but I'll ask you one more. They committed surgery on you.
Yes. When I was 15 years old, I had a double mastectomy. They removed both of my breasts, and I will never have them back. I will, as an adult, I never will be able to breastfeed whatever children I will have. I don't even know if, because I was put on puberty blockers and testosterone at only 13 years old, I don't know if I'll even be able to conceive a child naturally.
How do you feel
because
about that
I made an
now?
adult decision as a child.
It's unbelievable this could happen in America. How old are you now, and how do you feel about what they did to you?
I'm 18 years old now, and quite frankly, I am devastated with what has happened to me.
Yep.
It's been very hard to cope with the loss of my breasts, and it's affected other areas of my health as well. I'm really not sure about the overall picture of my reproductive health, and the treatments have made me very, very sickly, actually.
Harmeeda, just in 10 seconds, how can this be legal?
Well, Tucker, the Center for American Liberty, which is representing Chloe here, believes it is illegal. Our website at libertycenter.org has the letter, very detailed letter that details all of the medical symptoms that Chloe has and the medical malpractice and, frankly, mutilation that was perpetrated by these medical professionals. We intend to stop it, and we want to hear from other people who have had these problems as well. We intend to shut these barbaric and unnatural practices down.
God bless you for doing that. I mean it. Thank you.
Wow. So that was the first time me watching that. And I just have to say, first and foremost, I think that Chloe is a fucking rock star. And the fact that, she's 18 and she clearly was very nervous speaking on this. Not that I don't think she was well spoken, because I think she definitely got her point across. But you can just tell this is hard for her. And God bless Chloe. I tried to get her on the podcast a while ago, but she was very busy, and as she should be, because she's really in many ways leading the charge for this detransitioner community and, trying to make change. So good on her. And, I don't want to beat a dead horse. It's like she and these other kids who are having this done to them, it's fucking evil. And you listen to these people speak, and you see the sadness in their eyes, and you see how her future has been so limited, how she can't breastfeed, how she possibly can't have kids of her own. And it's like, how dare anyone take away the future of a child? Like, I've never even put it like that, but let's put it like that. Like, you're taking away the future of a child. There is almost nothing more demonic, nothing more evil, nothing more short-sighted and greedy than that. Like, fucking monsters. I hope Chloe buries them in financial, whatever the fucking phrase is. I hope she fucking buries them financially. If you guys enjoyed that short clip from the podcast, make sure you guys subscribe to this channel as well as my main channel and watch the full episode, which will be somewhere on the screen.